point I should, but not by forcing you to agree with me. I will hear the concept that we are in the state of war. Of course, if we are in the state of war, let us live by the tenet of war. What does that tenet state? The tenet of war takes us to the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention says attack of schools, attack of hospitals, attack of innocent civilian, unarmed civilian is an act of war crime. Then when you say we are in the state of war, you don't respect this, that connotes you to what we term as a hostile, and therefore you are responsible, or you are responsible to be branded as a terrorist, because if you don't respect those same terms, you say we are in the state of war. If we are in the state of war, don't attack hospitals. Unarmed civilian simply means that me, as Jarvis, if I don't carry arm, I am not a threat to you. You have no right to kidnap me. You have no right to attack me. If you attack me, it's a war crime. And if you say we are in a state of war, then respect that. Else, we are not in a state of war. Then we are in a state of what we call, in simply term, a limbo. And we are worldly in the limbo. How do we want to come out of that limbo? It's left for us Anglophones to keep aside our shared positions and look at our interests. What is that common interest? That common interest when I want to see the Bamenda Ring Road. That common interest when I want to go to Bamenda and apply for my ID card, and I have a decentralized location or whatever federal location where I can easily have access. That interest where I can go to the market. I have a good market, not where which is full with mud as a Muya market, which is a bread breeding basket of Africa, but full with mud. That common interest where we should have electricity as Moya till date has been for 3 weeks to 4 weeks without electricity, where people go around and collect 500. Okay. So that common interest.
Now the common interest. But Senior Barrister, I don't know whether you will agree with what has been said already on the superficial nature of our unity or division. But what are the lessons we've learned from the existing divisions amongst Anglophones for these past 6 years?
Mr. Leo, I think we should be honest to ourselves. When there is actual division, we all know what happens. I don't know whether somebody will show me any town in Southwest where something similar to what happened in Sakmilima has occurred. I mean, we have not had any incident of xenophobia where people have gotten up to say, let people all leave. If you have had one, show me. Tell us, let all of us put our heads together and say, yes, it has happened here. What is the hatred? I say it's superficial.
Okay.
Because people talk, they grumble, but nobody has ever taken a machete. Okay, you talk of separate, all those instances you are giving, they are things done by separatist fighters. How many people living in towns have taken machetes to kill others because they are Bamenda people?
Yeah, but
in Buya.
What we are
or how many in Bamenda have killed Bakuri people because they are Bakuri people living in Bamenda?
Yeah, I don't want us to get into it because
that's why I said it's superficial.
No, you are talking about Northwest Southwest divide. That's not what we are talking about. I'm talking about Anglophones in general, Senior Barrister. Yes, but what are the lessons?
The thing is that we have differences over which we may discuss and talk as at will. You see, but when it comes to defending or protecting our inherent interests, nobody would lift a finger to see that interest go down the drain. Okay, what will happen today? Okay, you just let us look at something. What will happen today when they say, let them take Southwest and join to Littoral and take Northwest and join to Western Province? Let us see what will happen. Who will sit there? You sit there and making noise and talking intellectual dishonesty without telling us the field of intellectualism. Will you sit down and watch Northwest being attached to West? And South, oh, why not?
Are we not all Cameroonians?
Oh, I see.
Why not?
Because you are a Cameroonian, you will take France and join to England. Wait, my brother, if those two cultures could match, why are France and England different countries today?
No, those are.
It is good because it is for CPDM. Since you are for CPDM, it is possible in Cameroon. I leave that thing aside. You are the one who is intellectually dishonest. So I you can see it now, because what the Europeans themselves cannot do, you think it is possible in Cameroon because you want to support CPDM. You see,
multicultural.
Oh, that is right. That's
Cameroon
right.
is a land of multiple cultures.
You take the Anglophone culture and
live over
blend
50 years
with the Francophone culture.
All these cultures together in peace, unity before.
Thank you.
The outrage
what will you
in
update?
2015.
What will you update?
Senior Barrister, can we get back to the question? The question has to do with the lessons that we have learned. Whether we like it or not, there are divisions. We have had persons who are insulting one another.
You see, the big lessons that we learned is that we are seeing from here, the big lesson that we have some of our brothers who practice belly politics to the detriment of the people. I know that they tell you about division. It is, you see, we have had programs here where we declare those things. People go there, they go to when they call up to Ewne, they go and tell stories there of how there is no problem. I mean, the people from his party, they go and tell funny things. You say the people of Southwest want a decentralization. When they tell you that one federation, you go and tell the difference because you want position. You want position. They sell the interests of their people for personal gain. We should say those things. You see? And that is what causes trouble, because some people are ready to forsake all your interests just to get a position. Then they come and tell that the people are divided. Divided where? Our division, it is because, I cannot be suffering of something and I keep inside. Let me say it out and not die with it.
When you finish out,
there is no division. I am saying it plainly. Whatever differences we have, they are superficial. They are not deeply rooted.
Okay.
And they don't prevent us from living together as brothers. And that is the reason why, as I keep saying it, we have never had any feud anywhere. Because, okay, talking about separatists and have you ever seen any feud anywhere between people who want a unitary state and Federalists, or between Federalists and people who want independence? We've never had any feud, be it in Douala, Yaoundé, Boya, or Bamenda. Never, nowhere. We are politically mature, and many people say the choice of the form of the state is going to be done by the people, not by individuals.
Yeah, but when you say we are politically mature and at the same time say certain actions are taken on certain people to deter them from taking certain positions.
Yes, Mr.
If the people are politically mature,
Mr. Kum,
yes.
When we say, and I say people like we are politically mature, those people who take arms, are they doing politics? That's not politics, Namasa.
Okay.
What they are doing is not politics. The people who are practicing politics are politically mature. Those ones, they are following revolution. And if you go by the rules of revolution, that conduct of theirs is what many revolutionaries use to obtain results.
So you endorse what they are doing?
How can I endorse? I am explaining why they are doing those things, because we saw it being used for the ghost towns. When the ghost towns were decreed, people went down to put knockers on the road so that cars should have cars that try to ply the road on ghost town day should have flat tires.
Okay.
Others went with Zoazoa on to the road to frighten people. So when you are coming, you see that those Zolaga, you just turn and go back. Those are the things that made ghost town to succeed. Without that degree of force,
succeed.
Oh,
okay.
Ghost town the nation in Cameroon succeeded now.
Yeah, Dr. Gabila, you have to come in here. What are the lessons we have learned? I'm sure you dodged from some aspects of my first question to you, but what have we learned from what we are living today as Anglophones?
Well, Mr. Leo, I think that we've come a long way. 6 years down the line, this conflict, we have made a lot of mistakes. We have inflicted a lot of self-afflicted wounds. And I think that in terms of our engagement with each other and our engagement with the government of Cameroon as a collective, we are learning to more and more identify our common interests and articulate it. I think that's the one thing. When my colleague in the studio that makes reference to intellectual dishonesty and talks about Anglophones attacking Anglophones, I think that we should not forget that we are dealing with a situation of conflict that has degenerated to produce the results that we are currently facing. The Anglophone society has not always been like that. Before this conflict broke out, we were not a people who would turn our knives or our guns or would attack each other. Armed conflicts come with certain undesired consequences. That is why all the parties who are involved in the resolution of conflict and in governance that is supposed to prevent conflict should do everything possible to make sure that a society does not get to the place of conflict. Because when a society gets to a place of conflict, the institutions of the state are broken down. The sense of order that is in the society is taken away. It's as if the cover that speaks for order is uplifted and then anarchy is released. It therefore is not intellectual honesty to enter into that kind of a space and struggle to handpick consequences or outcomes and then create a political narrative that is meant to suit a specific political agenda, like my brother in the studio is trying to resolve. It is not in our best interest as Anglophones to address our current situation, including the undesirable consequences of the conflict, separated from the historical context and the evolution of how this conflict got to where it is at the moment. I shared a sentiment of Senior Barrister Ashu in the studio, who says that, and my other colleague who was talking about the fundamental issues of farm to markets and all of that. As far as Anglophone solidarity is concerned, there is no division. The division are apparent. Of course, when you have people, and I see these are some of my brothers that come from CPDM, they are some of the most interesting group of Anglophones to interact with, because they sometimes have a bipolar personality. You see somebody sitting and trying to intellectually connect with his mind to tell him what he needs to say that would suit the narrative of his party, which is sometimes very disconnected from the experience of the people on the ground. Look at someone trying to express himself and trying to follow a party line that is saying things that he needs to say because his principals are listening to him and he must go back and justify whatever he said on a specific program. And speaking to the lessons we have learned and answering your question directly, I think that as Anglophones, we have come to a place where we look at people who come from this specific grouping and come from government and come from the CPDM and they're exposed. That's the one thing we have learned, that we can now sit down and listen to them and say, now, this is an honest person who is speaking from the bottom of his heart, or this is someone who is trying to defend an agenda. We cannot separate what is happening on the ground from his historical evolution. Coming to the question of the situation of the Fund of Mbabalang, it's a very simple thing. I like the fact that there's a brother in the studio who comes from Bafut. The question we need to then ask ourselves is the following. Why has the Fund of Bafut not been kidnapped? And why is the Fund of Mbabalang kidnapped? And I think intellectual honesty demands that we should understand that the Fund of Mbabalang is probably, I speak under correction, where he is because he is at the head of an institution that is a facade seeking to resolve a conflict that has deeper roots. He accepted to be nominated into an institution that is a charade that short circuits the question of bringing governance closer to the people. And it brings us back to the original question of how do we restore the dignity of our traditional authority. It is very clear.
But now, restoring the dignity of our traditional rulers, should it not respect the constitution, that dispositions that tells how a nation, a region, and communities should be organized? Should this be done through the manner that things are being done today? Would you endorse, as the President of the Republic or as a member of, yes, any leader in Cameroon, would you endorse what is being done? Because according to you, the Regional Assembly is a charade.
Mr. Leo, I find it very fascinating when some of us speak about democratic order and constitutional democracy in the midst of the conflict. The challenge we have in Cameroon is that we have politicians that sometimes, and I do not speak in the broad brush, we have certain people that would come and would play the card of constitution, rules and regulation within the context of shifting goalposts. If we are going to create a level playing field where the rules of the game are established ahead of time and there's a possibility of a just, effective participation in democratic processes and governance, then let political contestation define outcomes. Okay. But if we are going to have people who are going to be both referees and players who manipulate the rules, then you find yourself going down the corridor of frustration, which Barrister Ashu has defined as a revolution.
Okay.
Part of what is going on now is a demand for there to be a level playing field so that politics and respect for institutions can be enhanced.
Should these demands not be made under political recognized institutions like the Reform Party of Senior Barrister Ashu, Emmanuel, the Social Democratic Front, and a host of others? Because that is the part. If you were to take part, yes.
We should not behave as if we just dropped in Cameroon we fell from the moon. The SDF since 1990, speaking to the question of ghost towns did not start in 2016. The SDF has had the experience, let me use just the example of the SDF, but has the experience for almost the last 15 to 20 odd years of seeking political transformation through democratic participation. In seeking for there to be a transparent electoral process. Okay. So it's convenient for some people to speak politics and speak democracy when they manipulate the rules. And then when the people see that they cannot get joy from participating in the democratic process, and they have tried, Mr. Leo, for the last 20 years.
Okay. Doctor, thank you. But I think that my media prime in particular takes exception to the description of state institutions as charade. Please, yes, because we are also a house that is recognized, registered with the laws of Cameroon. So we take exception to that. Yes, certainly you endorse what they are saying, Senior Barrister, and what he's saying, that if the people are too anxious, they have waited for so long, they have run out of patience, okay, they should also think of other ways of changing the rules of the game.
I am deeply flabbergasted by the views and opinions of Dr. Gabila. I think our forefathers who instituted and brought us to the limelight of practicing democratic principles taught us that in democracy it is the force of argument and not the argument of force. I'm fundamentally touched right to my bones that an associate professor like Gabila should say it in Mondo Vision, that the phone of Mbambala was kidnapped because of his political views. I think it is unacceptable. It plays down on the values of Anglophones that we pretend to be. Because we realize that there's a high rate of cultural decadence within the context of the Anglophone crisis. Traditional and cultural sites have been desecrated by secessionist fighters. Fonts who are sacred institutions who are not supposed to be touched are kidnapped and carried on bikes by secessionist fighters, and Associate Professor Gabila concurs that it is because of their political views. Outrage, sacrilege, that is unacceptable. See what this purported field marshal, who called himself field marshal in Lebanon, he crowned himself as the paramount font of Lebanon, desecrating a sacred institution. And Dr. Gabila thinks that because of their political views, things like that should happen. I think that he made that fundamental error to mention the font of Bafut that he has not left Bafut. Bafut is a land of legendary royalty. It's a land of legendary royalty, and the font knows how to rule his people. And he stands by his people. And he knows his people are political beings. And because it's a font, he is not supposed to involve himself, because one elite can be of this political dispensation and another elite can be of the other political dispensation, and he taking a position in a political dispensation will be separating his elite. So he has decided to stay mute out of intelligence, because he is a revered leader and a man with reputation, integrity, honor. As a matter of fact, something was brought up. They were talking about the fact that Anglophones are still united. Where is Mark Barretta today with his outings, with his weekly and daily outings? Where is Tapang Ivo? Where is Tato, how do they call him? Eric Tato. Where are all the millions of US dollars that were collected for my trip to Buea? How close have they gone to Buea with all those millions? Where is the money? That is enough to cause separation because the money was embezzled. That's enough for any person who believes in the secessionist principle of these guys to understand that it's a project that has failed and people use it because of economies of war. What is still sustaining them today is economies of war. They contribute those money to buy bullets and guns and send so that when a top official is kidnapped, they can be able to get lump sum ransom and be able to feed themselves fat in the diaspora. The agenda has failed and it is nowhere to be found.
Okay. Yes. We talked about lessons learned, but many theories were developed from the three previous persons. I don't know how you appreciate what has been said so far. Jarvis, given that I always get back to you because I know severally you have gone down to the field to do documentaries and can tell what the people feel and are living.
The lessons we've learned are enormous. One of the lessons the people have learned is that they will never for any generation again push for violence or support any group that will come up with the iota of violence. Because when this crisis started in 2000, the Anglophone crisis started way back, and in 2016 we still had the Anglophone crisis. Now the Ambazonian crisis started in 2018 with the armed conflict now shifting aside the Anglophones, the foreheader of the Anglophone crisis. And now those people who bought the idea of our boys, supported our boys. In the beginning, it was everyone was our boys. But when things started moving hayway and they started kidnapping them, it now became those boys. And now you realize that in 2019, it was no longer our boys, it was now those boys. And in 2018, there was no civil and military cooperation. It was very difficult for the military to actually cooperate with civilians. But in 2019, you started having some civil and military cooperation in some villages and localities. This is to tell you that the people have learned from the lessons of 2018 and realized that it's better for us to go back in 2015 than to have an imaginary dream where we shall never achieve, as the folk rebels in Colombia has never achieved till date. Now, you witness in 2020, it now became those boys to the voices. Now the voices, why? Because it is now a total cacophony where people don't want to even identify, even in ideas, even in location with them, because they feel that these are people who were supposed to protect them, but they're no longer protecting them. Therefore, we should go back to 2015. If you move down to Maih and every area, Senior Barrister will agree, Mr. Shuneh will agree, even Professor Gabila will agree that
this is South Africa.
Yes,
yeah.
we agree that the common man in Bamenda, if you put microphone in 10 people, all of them will tell you one piece. More go back for 2015. More go back for 2015. They will not tell you the one federation. They will not tell you the one confederation. They will not tell you the one decentralization. They will not tell you the one whatever form of shun. They will tell you, Papa Mo go back for us to be there for 2015. Why? Because they miss the festivals they used to have in their villages. Where you see villages who come every December, you have festival from this area, you have you have the people from Bafut, you have the people from Boya, you have the people from Meme used to have their own. I've covered that of Meme on several occasions. They will tell you that Papa Mo go back. So the lessons we have learned is that not all glitters is gold. That's we move down now to the field. They will tell you this story I'm telling you. Why are they saying this? Because from the beginning, they have never felt war. And sometimes the people who felt war from the UPC, when they narrate their story before the crisis, will say, that one be done on this one, our own now, maybe will not be failed. But now they have witnessed a bitter man of war, and they will never want to promote war. Another lesson we have learned is that we have learned that we have two categories of elites. We have the elite class that is there to promote the agenda of the state, and we have the elite class that's fighting against the development of Anglophone communities. I heard Senior Barrister said no Federalists have been attacked because of his view. It is not so true, because if you look at Agobala is a target, and we have separatists who have come on air and say we regret why we did not kill Agobala. It is sacrilege. It is bad, because if you say that it is just these people who are agitating and that when politicians are speaking, nobody have certain politicians, not true. Agubala is an example. Moses is an example. Even Senior Barrister is an example. If Senior Barrister goes down to Maih, I will tell you that he will be kidnapped. No, on a serious note, okay, you may not be kidnapped based on how people have their own individual way of surviving, but I will tell you for certain that people have been attacked on their views. The phone on Bambalang was attacked from his views, and that is bad. That should be condemnable. That should not be tolerated in a nation where those who are picked up arms are claiming that let's promote democracy, let's fight for the freedom of speech and expression, as it was in the Nigerian Newspaper Ordinance Law of 1917, incorporated in Southern Cameroon, that gave room for freedom of speech even after libel and sedition. If we are claiming that we want to go back, then we should respect the same tenet that governs what we want. If we are claiming that we are in a state of war, we should respect the convention binding war. It is not, you cannot eat your cake and have it. Else, I will say we are in a state of terrorism based on this context.
Okay, Dr. Gabila, very briefly, you have something to say to what Mr. Shuneh said earlier on.
Mr. Leo?
Yes.
Well, I was just going to say that I wanted to thank you for using the example of the phone on Bafut as someone who respected himself and respects the institutions that he represents and maintains his contact with the people to sort of strengthen the case of why the experience of the phone of Bambalang is different. And to also just highlight the fact that he is, and not that I'm endorsing his captivity, and not that I'm endorsing. You see, as an analyst, I abstract myself from the politics of the ground, and I try to give an explanation of what is transpiring, to say that if there is a question about the form of the state and the status, the governance arrangement that speak to Anglophones in northern and southwest in Cameroon, and that there is an arrangement that is proposed as a solution, without consultation, I should add, without the kind of consultation that is expected from the people, it takes intellectual honesty for a political actor like my brother in the studio to understand that the people are telling the powers that be that we want to talk and we want to go to the root of this thing. So as an individual, as a father, as a head of a community, I cannot accept or endorse the fact that it's in captivity. But as an analyst trying to understand the happenings on the ground, all I'm saying is that people are responding to a solution that government has proposed by attacking, as it were, and it's different on Bambalang. I promise you, there are other people who represent that institution that if the possibility of finding themselves in the hands of the boys, they are going to also lose their liberty. We can choose to zero in on the incident and condemn it, which is condemnable, and pull political mileage out of it. When we are done with that, satisfying our principles, let's come back to analyzing the fundamental problems that we are facing as a people, which is to say we need a comprehensive conversation of how to bring governance close to the people. And we expect our traditional rulers and all of our political actors to come to the party in that conversation. That for once we can have an honest conversation to say, how do we bring governance closer to the people? What kinds of reforms do we need to institute to make for increased democratic participation? And once we have solved those things and created a level playing field and examined them, and we are all happy with it, then political contestation and competition can proceed in every democratic society.
Okay, Doctor, thank you.
It would be dishonest on our part to talk political contestation and competition when people are making a protest about the rules of the game. The two do not mix.
Yeah. But the context is the legitimacy of those who are contesting. I'm sure the party of Senior Barrister Ashu is contesting. Legally, we have the Social Democratic Front, we have the CRM. The only issue is, would you authorize or endorse persons to take up arms to make the claims that you are now talking about?
No. Mr. Leo, like Senior Barrister Ashu said, anybody who has taken us arms is not participating in the political process.
Okay. It's
not democratic participation.
Thank you.
In a situation of conflict, you cannot come and start talking about the rules of the... When somebody picks up a gun, they are making a statement that says, we know the rules do exist, but we are not happy with the rules. We have tried to express this peacefully, and you have not listened to us. So we want your attention. That is it. That's the bottom line. We want your attention. You know, whoever prevents the existence of peaceful interaction between human beings inevitably makes room for conflict. And we need to be honest to look at the root causes of the conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Not to bring in a political agenda when we're trying to understand the root causes of the conflict.
There's something briefly.
No, but Senior Barrister has to talk. Okay,
There's something said that let us not look at that this people picked up arms. Let's look at in the context of arms. Okay, let's go by that his jurisprudence. There's what we call the Geneva Convention. If they're in a state of war, are they respecting even that jurisprudence that they are claiming? Let's not look at the political side. Let's come back to the jurisprudence of war. Are they respecting it? No.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I really accept all what my brother in blue says. From Mr. Nsai Emil, writing from Yaoundé. I'm sure you're talking about what Jarvis just said. I'm shocked that the Leonard Barrister and leader of a party will say on TV that what the Amber Boys are doing is correct. That's scandalous. Okay, I'm not sure that is what Senior Barrister said. Okay, good evening to all in the studio. Barrister Ashu Emmanuel is not right to be preaching favor of evil on TV, sir. Emmanuel is writing from Balangi. Okay, this one says these boys have serious hatred among themselves as they move around killing themselves and even maiming their own in several instances. You call that love display, sir? You people are not fair. Dr. Gabila is not fair to his brothers. Okay, Mr. Leo, your program is so educative. What I can say is that what the Anglophones are passing through is the cost of the people in uniform, because they started to shoot civilians before the boys took up arms. Okay, Derek is writing from Kumbo. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to you all in the studio. This is Forver's son watching from Yaoundé. I want to agree with Barrister Ashu. The division is mostly superficial. Reconciling Anglophones is not difficult. Unfortunately, the government loves to see Anglophones divided and will do everything for it to reign. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and all the crew on board. Let me ask this question. Which one surpasses the other? The number of people that are in captivity in prisons or those kept by Amber? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Panelists, I think these guys are frustrated and they can't go back to the people because of some of the atrocities they have committed, thinking independence would come sooner. Please tell Dr. Gabila and the other person to be careful because we are suffering on ground. Okay, this one says, please, sir, Barrister Emmanuel, you are more than this. Where is France and England in Cameroon, sir? We are just Cameroonians, nothing like France and England. You are preaching hate. Yes, sir. Please stop being like this. This is not the spirit of a presidential candidate of this lovely fatherland. Emmanuel is writing from Balangi. I'm a fervent follower of this program. Honestly, the senior barrister has blundered today. Iswa Julius Fohtung is writing from Kumba. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please help me ask the CPDM man to go and take some rest. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo and panelists. I think these guys are frustrated. They have killed their brothers and sisters, and today they have people supporting them in the studio. Good evening to all those in the studio. I just want to respond to the panelists who asked if the ghost town succeeded. Attached pictures of Monday, November in Bamenda, Northwest region. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all the panelists. There may be divisions amongst the boys, but the war is still on. Let authorities and traditional rulers go back to their roots and fix it. Anglophones are one. Therefore, any misunderstanding amongst them can easily be settled. Okay. Mr. Kum, good evening. Thanks for the good work you are doing to educate Cameroonians on this rather irksome issue. The senior barrister is right. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I want to find out if there were any non-state armed groups or terrorists in the Northwest and Southwest regions before the violent crackdowns against peaceful protesters. Okay. Harris is writing from Boya. Evening, Mr. Leo. I didn't know we still have intelligent people as associate doctor who can educate the population as such. Okay. Good evening, senior barrister. How do we reconcile Anglophones and also work so hard to restore the dignity of our traditional rulers?
Thank you, Mr. Leo. I would like to answer that citizen who averred that I'm preaching hate. I am a Muslim. I'm a Republican citizen. I am a person who will never preach hate, no matter the circumstance. If we go back and replay what I said, all my speeches here, there is no taint of hatred. I even went as far as asking whether if we go to the market in Buea or Bamenda, we'll see whether a Bamenda man in Buea is a Bamenda woman in Buea market is paying higher for a plantain than a Bakuri woman. So I don't think hatred should be attributed to whatever thing I say here. People should understand. I mean, an intellectual debate. An intellectual debate is something that doesn't actually reflect my personal position as a president of a political party. I am trying to make people understand what is in the minds of criminals. I'm a criminal lawyer. You see, I understand these things, and when I give those explanations, I want people to understand why people behave that way. We saw it here in Douala and Yaoundé when there was a ghost town in the 90s. People they were forcing people, they were burning people's cars to force them to comply. You see, there was violence that was used on people to force them to comply. It's just the same thing these Amber boys are doing. So that doesn't amount to any amount of support by Senior Barrister Ashu or by Reform Party to what these boys are doing. I want to remind you that, well, as you rightly put in Mr. I don't know, Mr. Ewne Balangi, I'm a presidential candidate, yes, and I will not be president of a country that is divided. If you put succeed in coming out with a republic, I will be president of where? Of Ambazonia or of Cameroon. So please, when I say my thing, listen well. Don't go and give me things that I didn't say. Now come back to the question you asked. How do we reconcile Anglophones? I had said earlier, it is only on the lines of interest, because we go back to our common interests and you see, try to bring our people together along those lines. I think all the discussions we have had here have gone towards that direction, reconciling the Anglophones. What we have not touched is the traditional institutions, the credibility of our chiefs. And I think it's only Professor Gabila who attempted at saying that, well, a certain fund was not taking part in politics, and that's why, no, it is you. It's you who said the fund of Bafut doesn't take part in politics. And I think that is the solution. Our traditional authorities have to stay, because they are the custodians of tradition. The respect that the population gives them is due to the fact that they are the custodians of the tradition. They are the most revered people in the community. So they should not be seen as political actors. When a traditional ruler embraces CPDM, how does he intend the citizens who are under his command and who don't belong to CPDM, how does he think that those citizens are going to look at him? Because they all look at him as somebody who is taking sides and favoring CPDM. So it is not a nice thing for traditional rulers to participate in politics. Let them wash their hands of politics and stay within their traditional regalia and make sure that they rule the people objectively without fear or favor. But when they belong to political parties, whether they like it or not, the other parties will think that they are favoring militants of their party. And that is where trouble comes. I want to say again, the fact that we were talking about the fund of Bambalang does not mean that we endorse what has happened to him. We are trying to explain. Now, you see, you look at the case of Mami Regina Mundi. If a terror group, a group that has taken up arms picks up a dignitary, I mean, that is a war trophy. It's a war trophy. They hold it, and it can be used for prisoner exchange. We should not forget these things. So when you talk about the fund of Bambala, you are not supporting those who have held him. but try to find out what must have caused them to
Okay.
hold this man. And we are saying that this man was a chief. The man is the president of the House of Chiefs. It's a dignitary. So the fact that they have taken him in captivity to these independence fighters is a war trophy, and one day maybe they want to say, release this man and take your chief. That is very possible. So people should not think that X or Y is supporting the kidnap of the phone of Bambalang. I will not support any kidnap, because it is illegal to deprive somebody of his liberty and take him to an unknown decision. It's criminal. If all those people who are doing those things are seen, they are brought to civilized society, they will be behind bars. Unfortunately, we are in a war situation. We don't have any means of getting to them. So all we have to do is to try to give our own quota to educate the public on what we know about the way people who are in that situation behave. And that will enable people to know that, please, so try and stay safe. Don't fall into their hand, because if you're a big man, are kidnapped, are you sure that you will not follow the route of the phone of Bambalang?
You mean him?
If a big man, no, I say if you a big man.
But Senator Regina Munzi was kidnapped. She was released.
She was released now, but I think it was rumored. I know that was not. It was rumored that some money was.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I have a question. If the boys were not terrorizing people, if they were doing what the people like, that is the struggle could have gone through. Would the struggle have gone through? Okay, I don't know whether the struggle has gone through. I put that who barely fits from hand to mouth was kidnapped and demanded a sum of 1 million francs, of which he borrowed and paid, else he was beaten and killed, just because they heard he was against some of their barbaric acts. Chia is writing from Kum. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the panel. My revelation is that for peace to really come in Cameroon between all the tribes of Cameroon, is that an Anglophone should succeed President Biya and turn the whole Cameroon as an Anglophone country, because that is the wish of all Cameroonians. You can see it through the Anglophone schools and hospitals in so-called Francophone areas, and see how joyfully and the Anglophones are accepted in the Francophone land. Try a referendum about that in Cameroon. You will see that the far away majority of Cameroonians are wishing and preferring the Anglo-Saxon culture. Can I recall you that Nijon Frunzi won the elections in 1992? It was because he was voted by the majority of Francophones. Barrister Ashu is putting petrol in fire, a separatist who wants to create a problem between Francophones and Anglophones. Thank you, Joseph Jolido Dongomi, writing from Bassa, from Pika Katos. I'm sure you did not follow the explanations just given by Senior Barrister. He is talking as a criminal, an expert in criminal law. So, yes, he is justifying some of the actions and the reasons, the rationales behind some of them. We are going to be talking culture now. And I've just been joined by Prince Monefo Roger from the, I don't know, your prince from which Bafut. From Bafut? Yes. Okay. Prince Monefo Roger from the Fohtung, or the Kingdom of Bafut, is going to be telling us about a cultural festival that is coming up in Douala here. Yes, what's that festival all about?
Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard Kum, for accepting me in your program. Actually, we are going to be talking about the Togo Festival, which will be coming up in the month of December. And when we talk about the Togo, we are talking of royalty, we are talking of nobility, and of course, we are talking of elegance. That is why we have come up with this program, to see how we can valorize the Togo traditional dress that is giving it an international and renowned recognition, in a way that if you see the people who, from where the Togo originate, you will know that these are the original owners of the Togo. I will bring you back to this old tradition and culture. You know, when the people from the Western world came into Africa, they moved in with their Bible. When they arrived Africa, they presented the Bible, accompanied with the suit or the castle, and handed to the priest, that is the pastors and the others. If you want to know that this is a true pastor, you actually recognize that pastor through his Bible and of course through his castle. That is why we have come up with this Togo, which originates from the northwest region, that is the grass field. That when you look through the nation of today, through the world, the international world, you see Togo, it's been it is being worn all over the world. Mm-hmm. But now, where is the Togo coming from? That is our main reason for coming up with the Togo Festival, to make it known to the world that the Togo that is being worn all over the world originates from the grass field of Cameroon, that is the northwest region of Cameroon. I'm talking here of the various villages that involves the northwest. We're talking of Bafut, we're talking of Mankon, we're talking of Kambe, we're talking of Banso, then so the Kumbus. Those are the people who own this special traditional regalia.
Yes, so how will the festival be organized in Douala?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kum. This festival do concerns more especially the Manjongs, okay. Because you know the villages are being represented out of their villages by the Manjong. Mm-hmm. The Manjong is is a smaller name for the village, mm-hmm. that is being represented out of the village itself. Mm-hmm. So in Douala we have those Manjongs, we have the Mankon Manjong, we have the Banso Manjong, we have the Bafun Manjong. These are the people who are going to represent the various villages out of the northwest in the grassfield here in Douala.
Yes, but how will it look like? Where is it taking place?
Thank you very much. It's going, we have arranged, and we are going to hold at Lycée Biling, Bonaberi, Lycée Biling, Douala 4. And registration is totally free, okay, for all the villages of the grassfield.
Okay, so any village that is watching, if you have a group in Douala that would want to participate, they should contact you people. If you want to participate as a group, you get to me using my number. I will get you connected to the guys, but you can also give your number. Eh?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kum. To get to me, you can reach me on 677-241424, or to our founder, the Togo Festival founder, who is also a cultural promoter, Mr. Siaka Fonta, on 675-108404.
Okay. Now, when these groups are going to register, they will converge at the Lycée Polyvalent Bonaberi.
Exactly.
What are the activities that are going to take place there? There will be dancing, there will be eating, and would there be Miss competition?
Exactly, Mr. Kum. We cannot talk about the culture without those activities that will take place. It's going to entitle a lot of activities that I'm going to release here, and they are not going to limit from what I'm going to present. We have the Grand Cultural Togo Caravan that will move around the Douala 4 municipality. Later on, we are going to have the Togo Manjong Challenge. That is the various Manjongs who come up to present the best of theirs. That because thereafter we are going to have the election of the Mr. and Miss Togo for that festival, and later on we're going to have the Togo fashion parade for men, women, and of course the youth. And there will be a lot of animation from artists I'm already having in mind Fohtung, Tosh Boy, Siri, very great musicians from the Northwest. And then thereafter, we're going to have the election of the best Mahjong Togo for the festival. And of course, we are going to recognize the people who promote and support our cultural and humanitarian assistance for the IDPs here in the littoral region. And there are going to be a lot of exhibitions and sales of traditional Togo dresses and artifacts.
Okay, this is happening in Douala. The Jarvis, let me start with Senior Barrister. You hope to be the next president of this country?
By the grace of God.
Yes. When you hear about festivals like this, can I have this? It is the Togo Festival holding in Douala, and to valorize our culture, our tradition. Is there a key place in your manifesto for the valor?
Sure.
Yeah.
You see, sure. When he was talking, I asked myself, why has he not invited other traditional groupings? You would have
to spice
the occasion. The AkaDrg people would have loved to be with you, to come and make your occasion something very, very successful. You see, back with the people, I mean, you invite other traditional groups, and so that you will have something to write home about. It's a very good initiative. And in fact, it looks, the Lycée Bilem Bonaberi you are talking about, that field does not look big enough if everybody has to come in. You may have to receive people on the road, because they have something like a football field there. I don't think it's big enough to.
We have a space behind.
That festival, if it really succeeds, they will have problem with space.
No, not actually, Senior Barrister. We have done the groundworks, and we have studied. They have enough of space there to contain. And as you earlier said, as to concern the other villages, we are reaching the other villages to see how we are going to merge together, to see that the Togo Festival goes well. We are just talking about the Togo here now because we want to really picture out the Togo, to let it out so that the population to know that the Togo, the originality of the Togo.
Okay. Mr. Siaka, Shuneh, you are also part of this festival. What is the objective, clearly? Is this the first edition? Have you had previous editions?
Yes, Mr. Leo, fundamentally the Togo Festival is to promote and preserve and revalorize the Togo outfit that was handed to us by our ancestors. It's this unique traditional dress that is embroidered and handmade. It is, as a matter of fact, valorizing this traditional dress and valorizing the culture and preserving it for generations to come, because our culture has been attacked. We are having a high rate of cultural decadence. Our culture has been attacked. Our outfit has been attacked by dresses from China and whatsoever. And our youth, they think that when you put on the Togo, it means that you are a primitive man. We want to show them that this is our culture. They should wear it with pride. They should wear it with honor. They should wear it knowing that it is royalty. And this festival, we are inviting all other cultures to be part of this festival. We are inviting Cameroonians from the north, south, east, west, the Bakures, the Doualas, and wherever you come from. That this is a blend of multiculturalism, because people who wear the Togo today are not only people from the northwest or from the grassfield. There are people from all over the world, internationally. In China, you see Chinese. In Europe, in Americas, you see them putting on the Togo. We just want to promote the originality of this magnificent dress, and it is going to be a cultural jamboree. We are going to have traditional dances. We are going to have culinary arts, where we are going to have the Ashu, we are going to have Mbongo Chobi, we are going to have all the traditional dishes of this country, where people are free, they will come and eat and drink, wine and dine, eat kola nuts, drink palm wine, listen to good traditional folklore music, dance to the tune of Cameroon traditional music. Great artists will be around. It's going to be a fantastic cultural jamboree.
Okay.
Mr. Leo, yeah. I just regret that this festival is coming a bit late, because you have missed the opportunity to showcase this rare traditional attire at the world level, Cameroon would have gone. I mean, you would have taken this team with the national team along to Qatar. Like the DOP. The DOP is gone. I mean, Togo would have also gone.
When you take power, I'm sure you're taking...
We will surely make sure that players don't wear Muslim clothes instead of, I mean, the way they Togo, instead of wearing
just a
foreigners'
retrospect
dresses.
to Senior Barrister Ashu, that the Cameroon national team was dressed in the top outfit in the Sydney Olympic Games 2020. Cameroon is a land of multiculturalism. I think our brothers from the north, they wear the agbadas or the saro that we saw the national team wear this year. During the Olympic Games in 2000, the Togo was chosen. We are promoting multiculturalism in Cameroon. There is no smaller culture or bigger culture in this country. Since the state chose the Togo in 2000, they have chosen the one from the north this year. It is multiculturalism. We respect their opinion, and I think right there in Qatar, there is a Togo Festival team, even though it's not going under the banner of the state of Food, but the Togo Festival team is right there in Qatar. We'll be showing sights and scenes of the Togo operating in Qatar to promote the Cameroon culture, and we'll be sending pictures to my media prime, and you'll be seeing them. We are saying that kudos to the team of the Togo Festival in Qatar. I know you are watching us, and we are doing everything to make this festival a big success in Cameroon. And the Togo Festival has come to stay. The culture of the grassroots people has come to stay. The Togo remains one and inevitably the Togo so are the most prominent dress in this nation, Cameroon.
So the Bafun Manjong will be displaying.
The Bafun Manjong will be displaying, the Mankon Manjong will be displaying, the Bambui Manjong will be displaying, the Banso Manjong will be displaying, the Kambe Manjong will be displaying. We are calling on all these cultures that put on the Togo to call our numbers and register. Registration is free. It is a day where you have to come and release yourself, especially to the IDPs who have been out of the Northwest for a very long time, and they want to express culture, they want to feel culture. The end of year is coming where we have to go back to our villages to enjoy our traditional festivals, but there is no way because of the insecurity. This is an opportunity for them to come. Let's enjoy our culture as we used to do in yesteryears.
Yes. When is that happening?
This festival is taking place on the 17th of December 2022 in Bonaberry.
A week before Christmas.
A week before Christmas.
Okay. We want to see we're going to have other opportunities to discuss this, and with a bigger panel of 4 persons dressed in the Togo,
yes,
so that we discuss more in subsequent editions of the program. Dr. Gabila, we are glad to have had you participate in today's edition of Prime Hour.
Thanks so much, Mr. Liu, to you and my fellow panelists. I think it has been a very engaging conversation. Quick one: to restore the dignity of our traditional leaders, we need to adopt a governance model that redefines the relationship between the state and our traditional community. Give them a budget, allow them to be the custodian of culture, not make them political actors, and they will not have opposition. But thank you so much to you, to my media prime, and to the rest of the panelists and to your viewers.
Okay. The Iron Lady who is watching from whom is saying that, Leo, you allow him talk without mentioning Menchum. Elizabeth, she is the Iron Lady, fervent militant of the Social Democratic Front. Yes, but how do you even
I was waiting for you to give me the opportunity.
How do you even come here and you call everybody without mentioning Menchum? That's marginalization of the first order.
No.
I will start
He
by...
marginalize you?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No, I was about to raise that.
No,
I was
waiting for the opportunity to come up so that I should. I was waiting for the opportunity to come up so that I should mention all the village. If they give me the opportunity to correct now, I would want to thank all the Manjong present in Douala. Let me start with Menchum, because I have my good friends there, and of course the founder of Menchum is my very good friend. Chief
talking of
Ndecham, yes, my good friend. He was with him yesterday when the judge of ICC was being appointed at his place with the phone.
No, but I'm sincerely not happy. This is you don't do that, Mr.
So, and of course, Mr. Kum, yes, we have Gokutunja, the Kum, the Balis, the Kumbo, the Bambui, Bambili, thinking of the great DO of Douala 5, my bosom, Dr. Cletus Awasum. I greet you, sir, and all the other good friends from Bansa and Cambe. Santa.
Yes, somebody is saying that he loves the initiative, but asking why in Douala to showcase this. Is it because of the prevailing situation in the Northwest?
As a matter of fact, it goes beyond explanation. That is because of the prevailing insecurity situation in the Northwest region, and we are saying that it's a first edition, and we are starting in Douala. We will be rotating all over Cameroon because Anglophones and the people of the Northwest are having comfort zones all over this country. Even in Kuseri, where there are Anglophones, we are going to do it there because Anglophones are living freely in peace in this country everywhere, and we have a conglomeration of IDPs from the Northwest region who are in Douala now. We want them to feel the culture, we want them to feel tradition, and then feel free and be able to enjoy themselves as they used to do in yesteryears. And a special greetings to our co-opted brand ambassadors from Decham. From Decham Maxwell is a co-opted brand ambassador. Chief Ntonifo Rene is a co-opted brand ambassador. All the Paramount Funds of the Northwest region are co-opted brand ambassadors of this great festival. The president of Bafu Development, Manjong, the president of the Soongwa meeting in Douala, the president of Chomba, the president of Bali, the president of Mankon, the president of Kwekul, all of them are brand ambassadors of the Taco Festival. We want to thank you all who took time off to be here for this evening, and to all of you who took time off also to watch this edition of the program. Special greetings to you, Madam Ewi Elizabeth. They call you the Iron Lady, watching from Womb, Chieftain of Menchum Division. We say stay blessed. Bye-bye.